am not in the mood to do all of this today.
That's how it always is.
The ironic
for
thing
me.
is, it's not the recording, is it? It's the editing. That's the thing that
It's
is
not even
fucking...
the editing. My ear just hurts. I want to go play some Like a Dragon and just put like a I have like one of those microwave like heating pads that is
with
essentially
like the
just like
beans or whatever. in 'em?
rice on the inside of it.
Yeah.
I just want to go lay down and like
Mhm.
put that right on my ear.
Fuck, that's a lot of blood to wash out. Sorry, I'm reading the news.
I was gonna say, like, I hope that's not what I run into when I go see the doctor.
But yeah, you said I should show this on the show, but yeah. Last year I went on vacation and I mentioned I went to a candle store and they drilled out the candle so I could put an LED inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the actual candle itself.
Like Christmas
which-
metal candle.
Yeah, well, it's green and black,
Mhm.
which is pretty much my colors.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it goes pretty well. There is a sky blue and something else upstairs that's got an owl on it, which is not mine. This one is mine.
Hey there, Cosmic Cow. Nice to see you again.
Bonjour. But yeah, I mean, pretty sick candle. And the fact that I don't have to melt it down like the 17 candles over. So what you guys can't see is I have a bookshelf right here
Mm-hmm.
with a bunch of bullshit in it. It's a bookshelf that's just used as storage for all of the shit I can't think of where to put right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like a cat tree and a whole bunch of other stuff is in there. 3 controller boxes, several video games in cases.
It's your
vitamins.
bookshelf version of a junk drawer, where it's like, just put it in
Yeah,
the drawer.
exactly.
Whatever.
And the top shelf of that is nothing but candles. Like
Mhm.
I have, it's fucking full of candles. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles up there at the moment.
Jeez.
Didn't know we had a
I like
candle
candles.
aficionado
It's like a
here
warlock
for-
study.
Yeah.
I fucking like. There's a box down here out of frame with candles in.
Mm.
I like fucking candles. And there's a
Yeah.
box over there because I also have one of those melty pot things.
Oh,
Uh,
sure.
We just
You
bought
put
one
the
for my
wax in the
son.
Yeah, I got
Because
one
he-
of those too. And there's a fucking Tupperware box in the other corner of the room full of shit for that too.
Well, he has a bunch of candles. We signed him up for like Al Crate, which they every month they send him like a book and like a bunch of stuff to go with it and all that. And so he's been getting the fantasy one, and
Oh, nice.
they've been sending him a couple candles here and there every once in a while. And he was asking when can he light them. And my
Mm.
wife was like, never in your room, but we can get you one of those melting ones. So we got him one from Aldi today.
Mhm.
And she
Now
was
that
up there
entire
setting
house
it up
smells
and
like
showing him.
jasmine.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like, so now she uses she has her own that she uses for our main floor all the
Mm.
time.
Mhm.
So she's the one that'll refreeze them after they've melted so she can pop them out and change the scent, and then she'll reuse them and stuff until they no longer have a scent to them anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yup. Thanks to getting into the melty drop things. I don't actually know what they're called. Atomizers, vaporizers, who knows? I can't have essential oils in the house because I have cats in the house. Cats,
Sure.
essential oils
A
don't fucking mix.
diffuser. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can't do that shit because of that situation. So that's why I have my wax melty thing. And I learned very quickly that 40-watt bulbs in that size are fucking nightmares to get hold of, but you kind of
Mm.
need 40-watt to get, and I quote, this is the definition I learned while doing research into this, to get the appropriate throw of the scent. You need a
Oh.
40-watt bulb.
Scent throw. Interesting.
Uh-huh. That's the terminology for it,
I love it.
apparently.
Ours are just like hot plates. And you can swap out
Yeah.
the little dish that goes in them, but there's no bulb in them. It's just a
My
hot
one has a
plate.
bulb. I have a hot plate one upstairs too, but the one I
Okay.
have down here is a bulb one.
Nice, nice.
What does serious melters do? Oh, you can't. You
They
can't get a
fucking
hot plate. I
blow
gotta get a bulb.
torches.
It's-
Get out of here! Get out of here with your Wi-Fi LED 40
That's
watt.
right. I put my shit on the stove,
Yeah.
bitch.
Uh-huh. This
Oh,
is a
we-
pretty candle. This
we
ain't
only-
a real candle.
Yeah,
Right.
we only use Edison bulbs in this household.
That's right.
Fucking Tesla all the way, baby.
That's right. Gets the right char
If it's
on
not
those
getting
things.
lit up by electric in the air, then it's not getting fucking lit up.
That's
How many
right.
lumens you doing in each room, huh?
That's right. Oh, only 5,000? Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
starting out, I guess.
Illuminati.
Listen.
Ugh, dumbass.
Listen, there's a reason I have adjustable light bulbs in the rooms I spend the most time in this household, because I get migraines like fucking that.
Yep,
And
you're
it's just
dragging
nope,
that
this
bar
goes
down.
all the way
Boo!
down.
Yeah, we knew you were a dimmer household.
That's
Uh-huh.
Boo!
I
I'm definitely
got
not
light
bright.
jokes for days.
On that note, are we ready to start the show?
Yeah, now that we're all being super fucking punchy right
Yeah, I
off
was
the
gonna
bat,
say.
let's
Yep.
go.
Good stuff. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpeer
Hello.
and the Nimp.
Hello.
Quick plug here, just one more time. Next game club game we're going to play is going to be a short hike. I almost said a long hike. That's probably the sequel. A short hike is the next one we're going to play.
It's the longer songs on the soundtrack is what that is.
It's right, right. So that's going to be our next game club game. We're going to play that for the next month. Hopefully you'll come play with it. Play it with us. You probably own it already on something. So go check your platform of choice or your email or something. Check that out. Also check out patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones numbers or some such thing.
Get all the cool early access behind the scenes exclusive. We had a really good Outcast we just got done recording today. It had a little bit of everything. Starting with Metal Gear, having a cursed drink, talking about candles, Helldivers 2. You got that. That's only maybe a third of what I wrote down that we talked about there on the show. That's available at the $2 a month tier. You don't need to sign up for the $5 a month tier. The $2 a month tier, you get that. You get early access to We Roguelike It, where Moon and I are playing probably too many roguelikes to be recommended by medical professionals. And then Critical Misses, where Moon and I are catching up on all the media hits we missed. At the $5 tier, you get the Critical Misses production meeting, where we're talking about all the stuff between seasons. We're sort of figuring out what we're doing, coming up with new season ideas and things like that. That one is highly recommended if you're a patron of the $5 tier or higher. That one's highly recommended. I know it doesn't always sound the most interesting, but I think each one of them comes out being pretty cool, and you get a good peek into kind of how we make these shows and how the sausage is made kind of from a production standpoint. And that extends largely to some of the other shows here too. And then you get exclusive access to the Wayward Sons Supernatural TV show watchcast that Moon and the Nimp are doing. That comes out every other week. That and Critical Misses are on an every other week release cadence. Thank you everyone who's signed up as a patron. If you'd like to go sign up, the $5 a month tier gets you everything that is Fun for Fiverr over at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones on numbers. Quick, shout out to the pre-show. I need to have a stress thing in my left hand, because if my hands stay still, my hands lock up and start to hurt. So I'm usually playing with something during the show. You might notice a little cat or a beanbag. This thing was over here, and I panicked and thought I was going to burn my arm on my candle.
Moon has his arm over an LED candle.
Yes.
Good times.
It was. I literally looked over oh no, and then realized it was
my
not an actual fire
brain.
candle.
All right, Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Okay, I'm going to start with Slice and Dice. You don't have to bring anything up, Boston. I'm just going to reiterate to everybody who has not listened to the We Roguelike It or Science episodes for Slice and Dice, you all should probably check them out and then maybe go play Slice and Dice. It's kind of an addicting roguelike, and I'm playing it on my phone, which means I'm not stopping playing it at the moment.
Yeah, Slice and Dice. We talk about it in the ranking episode, but sometimes we're happy to see roguelikes go, where it's like, we did our 4 weeks, we're bye, see ya. And sometimes...
What was that? Sinking tides, slowly ships...
Loot River is the one where we just...
Raising tides raises all ships.
No, I'm thinking of a specific game. You
Well,
don't want to talk about Boston.
I do,
Underground
and
London.
Oh, yeah, it's...
There's a lighthouse in every universe.
Yep, it's that one. We played BioShock. No, it was the I was specifically thinking about Loot River, where it's like, we've done 2 weeks or so, and we're done. Okay, bye. But sometimes it's a bummer to see a roguelike go, where it's like, yeah, we largely try to play... Sunless Sea, thank you. We largely just try and play for a month, but sometimes it's like, yeah, we could play more. This game's great, but moving on to other stuff like Turnip Boy Robs a Bank, which is our next one. But Slice and Dice is great, and it's almost no money. It's so good.
Yeah, it's like $7 on itch, and I think the same on Android devices. So
Yep.
I don't want to know how much time I've played into this game. I'm glad that Google does not surface that to me on the Android store right now, because I don't need to know.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah. Slice and Dice is great.
Your game application.
Nope.
It'll tell you right there.
Nope.
La 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 la.
Nope. Lale lule lo. Thank you. I'm good. I need to know if Boston has played this. We can go into a deeper dive on it now. I played like 4 missions on a little to the left. I loaded it up. I played it for a couple of minutes, and then immediately got the gist of it. And then was like, "Oh no, my chicken is done. I need to pull my chicken out the oven." Kind of situation. How much further are you in, Boston?
Well, so I was gonna have a theme to my my games here. I was gonna start with the worst and end with the best. I was gonna start with a little to the left.
Start one.
Yeah. I'm not gonna keep playing more of this because this game is really frustrating. And
is it the additional like completes that is frustrating you, or
no? It's just kind of the base level stuff. And part of what's frustrating me is the game. Some levels, it's really obvious how you're supposed to organize stuff. Like one of the levels I've really liked so far, there are 2 rows of jars that have sand in them. You're especially
I did this one. This is a really cool
so
level.
You're like lining
it was
up
the daily one, wasn't it?
I just did it in like chapter 2 or whatever. I haven't really done too many of the daily ones.
Okay,
but I like that one because you're matching the like hills and valleys of the sand in the jars sort of from one side to the other. I thought it was really cool. But there are so many in this game where, and this has to be the difficulty of making this game, is that I organized the things how I think they should be organized, and I laid them all out and I put it perfectly, and the game essentially just like stares at you, and it's like, are you done?
It doesn't give it it's a little bit too long of a beat from when you've put it in order to when the star comes down. Like it's a little too long there.
And when you don't get it right, the game's just kind of looking at you like, "Oh, are you done? Because that's not the solution." And it's like, but then what else am I supposed to do? Because I organized them in one case, and the thing that stopped me from playing this game, I probably won't touch it again, is there's the little bread clips that hold bread packages together.
Yeah, twist ties.
Yeah.
Or like the little plastic chip ones.
Yeah, the little plastic chip ones. There's like a field of them in the level, and they all have they're all different sizes, and like the hole in them are all different. And as you start organizing them, you find out that the little notches on the side all kind of lock into each other. So you can lay them in a line and they all kind of interlock with each other, even though all of them are different sizes. So I did that, and I laid them all out, and then I gave the game a couple of seconds, and it didn't do anything. And I was like, okay, I can't pick them back up. So that seemed to be the solution. Let me go do the hint thing, where, like I talked about last week, it has like a piece of paper that's been scribbled out, and you erase the scribbles and it shows you the solution. The solution of the puzzle is literally what I just did. So I tried to do it again, and the game was just like, no, that's that's not what it is. It's like, what? Why? Why yes or why no? Like, I don't understand. So I think that's the thing that broke me. I got about halfway through chapter 2, and I was like, I can't. This is so frustrating. Not
the complete lack of feedback.
Yeah, the complete lack of any feedback. Because like, if the game that I want to compare this to the most is Unpacking, because they feel similar, but in Unpacking, when you tried to put something down, it would get that like red outline or whatever, and would just say like, oh, you can't put this here, or like something was clearly in the wrong room that it didn't fit correctly. And that felt good because you're getting some level of feedback. But when I go and I solve a level, and I solve it in the way that makes sense to my organizational brain, and to be fair, it's gonna be different for everybody. But like, I solve the puzzle, and the game just gives you nothing. That's so frustrating to just get zero feedback.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be fun, I guess. Yay.
Yeah. Sorry to bring the room down, but like, it's one of those games where like, I really want to like this, and I've been watching this for a while because I like these games. I like these kind of like cozy sorting, organizing kind of games. I think there's something cool there.
We both watch the Cube Games like like thing every single year, and
the
this
like
type
wholesome
of thing
games
is always
direct.
in those.
Yeah,
That's
like
Thank you.
Those are the games that I really like, and I think this is a really cool idea, and I like it from a conceptual level still, but it sounds so weird that this simple 2D organizing game doesn't play well, but it really doesn't, and it's so frustrating. It's a real bummer.
I mean, like I said, I only put like 10 minutes into it so far, so I'm sure I will wait and see exactly what the situation is on my side.
Well, and one quick thing too, I give it a lot of credit. There's a ton of puzzles in this, because there's like, there's all the regular puzzles, then there's the DLC, which I haven't bought or touched. There's the daily puzzles thing, where it seems like it just kind of picks a puzzle from any of the puzzles in the game. And then there's an additional menu where like the first set of puzzles in there is like a Christmas set of puzzles. So it has
it's got an archive of all the special events.
Yeah. So like it has a ton of stuff in it. It's just I'm having some large problems. So I'm glad that you picked it up, because I'm curious to see if your organization brain maybe meshes better with what the game is expecting of you.
Probably not, based on my anger with Unpacking and not being able to put things in certain rooms in that situation.
Right.
Honestly, it's been my escape game from the other games I've been playing, and a strange self-torturous project I've put myself on, which I will talk about that when it's done, and when it's ready, you will know about it. But yeah, it was just one of those things where like I literally had 10 minutes. I sat down, I played like 5 levels in like 10 minutes, and then literally had to go and get my chicken, which is a strange thing for me to say, but yes, that's it. Welcome to my weekends.
Right.
I get chicken. I played the crew. I'm not even going to talk about it a whole bunch. I played a lot of the crew. I played too much crew. Still nobody is in my crew, and I hate you all for it. I really need to try and just... There's like 5 achievements, which was going to take some time to do, but easy enough to do. I just want to get them done.
When does that get delisted?
The March 31st is when it officially goes offline. So I have a month, so I have some time. Specifically, there is an achievement for several achievements for doing specific races in a crew, at least 2 people. One of them is literally a 3.5-hour race around the entire map.
Oh,
because why not?
Yeah.
But I've been grinding away at that, little bits and pieces here and there. I mean, it's fine, it's fun, it's stupid. I'm redoing the story missions right now to get the platinum on them, which, sure, why not? It's fine. It's fun, stupid racing game that I'm enjoying playing at this moment in time when I know I don't have any other racing game to play right now with the Forza Horizon 5 giant update that just dropped.
Oh no, what just got updated?
Lunar New Year. They have a huge Lunar New Year event going on right now.
No,
like
my weakness.
All of the festival sites are now like done up in Lunar New Year decorations.
Oh, that's super cool.
That's cool.
Oh no.
But yeah, so I'm not playing that, so I'm playing this instead. Yay. Yeah. I played Lethal Company on Friday. Lethal Company was fun and dumb and stupid as it always is. A little short-handed. Only 3 went out, but there was arguments to be had.
Oh no.
We're hit that point now where we're still having fun playing it, but now we're yelling at each other for trifling, stupid things that we're doing in a fun way. We're not actually nasty with each other. We're just giving each other crap in all of the best/worst ways. I adore Lethal Company. It is, the more I'm playing it, the more I'm annoyed about my decision last year with regards to Game of the Year. I'm legitimately so annoyed with myself for not just going off my gut instinct, especially considering it's a quote-unquote flavor of the month. The legs this has got with the people who I'm playing it with, where we say, you want to play Lethal Company, and like in your case, it's helpful, Boston, because you can't make it every week, so you get it maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. Bill's can't make it every week. He's only once every 2 weeks at most. I'm playing it every Friday, and I'm playing it every Friday with Ash and Rob, and if Justin ever stays awake long enough to actually communicate with us, then Justin will jump in too. I love you, Justin. I genuinely do. This is just you. But every week we're having fun. Every week we're running in. We're having new experiences where we drown to death on one of the hard moon planets because it's stormy. Or raining, I should say. Flooded is the word I was looking for. It's so stupid and so fun, and I hate how much I love it. Because it's put me on my PC, and I don't like playing PC games. I've had too much fun playing this game. Like, it's, I think you talked about it last week, Boston. It's the same quote unquote content, but every run is so different. Every run is so unique. Every time you land, you don't know what you're going to get hit with. Is it going to be fun? Is it going to be rough? Is it going to be easy? Is it going to be hard? Are you all going to get shot to death by a million turrets that exist? Like, it's one of those games where the stories that come out are the things that are hilarious, or the moments are really, really great. And it's like remembering some of the things that have happened and things like that, and some of the moments is being absolutely hilarious. And every week we have new moments. Every week we have new fun, new stupidity. Like, it's just dumb enough and put together enough to be that repeatable experience where it's like, it's not polished to a shine, but it doesn't need to be, because that's not what you're there for.
Well, and also it's like, it's just light enough from a gameplay perspective, but just interesting enough to keep you engaged. Like, it's not a game where you're managing 50 different resources and you're thinking 200 turns ahead on this board game that 200 people are playing at any time. It's just like, we're going to go, this game doesn't have a lot of, you don't even do that much in the game, sort of button wise. Like, it's a very simple game, but I think that's been a big part of its strength, at least for me, where it's like, all right, do you know how to use a mouse and 2 or 3 keys on your keyboard? All right, you can play this and get scared.
Yeah, controller binding doesn't seem to be ideal at the moment. However, we'll talk about that in a second, because my opinion on that may have changed.
Okay.
I don't play it with a controller, for the record. I don't play it with a controller. However, there is a different PC game I really, really, really want to play, and as such, I need to have a controller for it, because Lethal Company, I'm fine with mouse and keyboard, because it's not twitch reflexes, it's relatively simple controls. I will not play Helldivers 2 with a mouse and a keyboard.
Why not?
Okay.
I will play Helldivers 2 with a controller.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about controllers on PC games.
Oh boy.
Remember when I said I needed props?
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is what I needed props for. This was
Okay.
pre-recording, guys. Listeners, you didn't hear me say this. Here is a Xbox One controller. I'm showing the camera this like a good audio narrator.
So
I'm going to show
Moon
exactly
is
what it
holding
is.
up an original Xbox One, probably like Gen 2 Xbox One controller. It does not have a share button, and it probably does not have a headphone jack.
It's also light gray. The buttons are not colored. The sticks are green.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, so no share
It
button,
has a-
headphone jack.
Yep.
Yes. This is the controller I have been using on my PC when I played a limited amount of time on my PC for a while.
Old reliable.
Yes, when I started playing Lethal Company, Ash, who plays with us, has a PC but prefers controllers because mouse and keyboard she's not used to, so therefore she doesn't like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I will play mouse and keyboard. You take my controller. I'm going to desync it from my computer, sync it up to your computer, and then you can use that. And it was fine. It worked, but there's certain buttons that didn't work or anything like that.
Mm.
And then I bought Helldivers 2.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk too much about playing Helldivers 2 because all I've done is the tutorial mission. But oh boy, do they use the Starship Troopers horns. You know exactly what I'm talking about really effectively in that tutorial mission. And that whole intro sequence is chef's kiss fantastic.
You are making me so proud right now.
No, you're making
when
America proud.
Yes. What is it? Enforced democracy is the phrasing
Managed
for it?
democracy.
There we go. Managed democracy is the terminology. That's just chef's kiss branding.
It's real good.
Like,
yep. And all of your bullets are just little slivers of liberty.
That's right. That's right.
So I launched Helldivers and I sent on this controller. I bought a different controller. I gave that one to Ash. So Ash has their own controller. Not one that I've had for 15 years, apparently, that I've been using on my PC. So they have their own specific controller, just like I do over there with my Xbox. I have a green one sitting over there. So I resync this back to my computer. I disconnect it from Ash's. I resync it back to mine. And like I move the right stick and nothing happens.
Okay.
And then I move the right stick all the way and hold it there. And then after about a second and a half delay, it starts to pan over. And I was like,
what's your connection method here? Are you Bluetooth? Bluetooth. Ah, okay.
So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, okay, maybe it's a Bluetooth issue because mouse and keyboard worked fine.
Sure.
They genuinely did. They worked fine. And I was like, I wonder if I wire the controller in, will it be any better? So I go over to my giant stack of cable trays over there because everyone's got one.
I have a couple of bins of cables, yes.
And I open the drawer labeled USB-C cables because, yes, I do that too.
Yep, ditto.
And I pull out an Xbox branded USB-C cable.
Okay.
And I bring it over here. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to plug it into the USB 3 on the top of my computer. I start unraveling it from the loop that it's all tied into. And then I go to plug it into my controller.
But funny story. It's mini USB.
It's a mini USB controller, which means this was before Microsoft went to open Bluetooth. This was Microsoft's specific like Wi-Fi direct Bluetooth model on the original Xbox One.
Right. Y'all got those dangles?
So I was like, oh, no. I'm not going to go back to my shelf over there and pull out the different drawer that says USB micro because, yes, I have one of those too.
Also, I'm assuming that
USB mini.
That's over like
yes,
6
I have
feet
one
away.
Of those. Literally, it's on the other side of this room. So, yeah, it's probably about 12 feet total. So instead, I pull out one of my other Xbox controllers.
Okay. This is a more modern one with a share button on it.
Share button, and it has a USB-C connection, which you can't really see because it's in black. But it does have a USB-C.
Yeah, I was gonna say here. Got one sitting right here. Yeah.
Mine is downstairs at the moment, but I have a similar one.
USB-C.
Yep. I also have a Series S. controllers sitting right here.
I literally have like 6 controls right around this
Yeah.
PC. So I pulled out this one.
Oh, no, I lied. I have another one
Here's
here.
a Switch. Yeah.
But I also...
The controller show.
Hold on. I need to show this one. I have this controller, which, if you can see on camera, says Day 1 2013 on it.
Yeah.
Hold on.
An Xbox controller.
I don't know where my Vita and stuff went.
And here's my dual
Yours might say Day 1. My other one says Project Scorpio.
Ooh,
you know what?
All right.
You know what?
And that's
I
the
got
one I
you
use for my
both
Switch.
beat because I've got a Steam controller.
There you go. I thought yours was just going to say my uncle works at Nintendo.
My Project Scorpio controller is literally the one with the Switch dongle in, so I can use my Xbox controller on the Switch or the PlayStation if I choose to. And if you really want to go down that rabbit hole, gents, I'm just going to roll over here really quick.
Oh, Moon's going into the background. It's not a green screen.
And I'm going to pull out my Xbox 360 controller.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
With the rotating D-pad, baby.
Ooh, the rotating D-pad. I have like, for most of my consoles, I have a bag that has the controllers in it. So like, here's my Super NES. Here's a bag that has like the 2 controllers I have. I just have a full box full of 360 controllers. It's just this like, this undying mass of 360 controllers.
My TV sits on top of an entertainment center.
Mm-hmm.
Inside of those cupboards in the entertainment center, there's nothing in the shelves because my Xbox Series X sits behind it. I do have my PlayStation 4 in one of the shelves. My Xbox Series X, Xbox One Series X is upstairs connected to a different television. But those cupboards and the drawers in the entertainment center is 2 packets of discs, which have games in them because I had to get rid of all of the cases. And so many 360 controllers.
They're just they multiply at some point.
I even have an Elite that I didn't pay full price for.
Oh, there you go.
Mine's both of my Elites are sitting in their cases underneath the televisions. I don't use them. I got Elite 1 and 2. Yes, they're both over there. And I don't use them to play, which is the hilarious thing. I pull out my Elite controller when I want to play Elite Dangerous, funnily enough.
My Elite controller is the one that I plug into my computer if I ever use it for gaming.
Oh, there you
go. But yeah, I synced, back to the story, I synced this controller up.
The second controller in question.
The second controller, the one with the USB-C connection to my PC. And despite the fact that it has monumental drift on it.
Oh boy.
Which is really bad. Like, I'm like, it's really bad. It works perfectly. It works absolutely fine.
Nice.
So now I have to go through my pile of Xbox One controllers scattered around this building and figure out which one is the right generation and doesn't have a drift. That is the problem I'm going to have here. I need a silver Sharpie, which I'm pretty sure I have, so I can just write on the back of the bottom of this one, right stick drift. So I know what it is. And then when I've got enough that say right stick drift, left stick drift, button stick, I can just take them all apart and build one good controller out of them all.
That's right.
Or just go to iFixit and buy all the components you need and just fix all of them.
That's true.
Yeah,
and then you can have a party.
But I got enough controllers to have plenty of parties. Thank you very much.
That's what I'm saying. You just need to get them all to work.
That's right.
Yes. But no, I loaded that up and then I redid the tutorial after doing it once with the keyboard for the controller to see how different the controls were. They're not actually that bad. They're relatively simple. I don't like toggle crouch, so that's something I'm going to be changing.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Helldivers 2 is impressive as hell. Like, genuinely looks gorgeous. The only reason I didn't send a message to you, Nymph, saying that I bought it and I wanted to play it with you is because I made a promise that the first time I play it would be with somebody else. And normally I would be like, who cares? But I did also force them to go out and spend $700 on a new graphics card. So,
oh, no. That makes sense. And a Moon is a man that keeps his promises.
When there's $600 on the line or $700, however much it was, yes, 100%. I'm not going to play it until I play it with this person specifically.
That's right.
However,
so if it makes you feel any better, I apparently inadvertently talked a bunch of people into buying this game as well. So
I wanted to play it, but I also know that my schedule doesn't really line up a lot of the time with other people's schedules. So like, I wanted to widen my net because my net so far was, I think it was you, was one of our listeners sent me a message. I wish I could remember who, but they are on my friends list on Steam, so they are right there in my friends menu. Maybe Pharaoh and maybe one other person. So I wanted to extend my net.
Pharaoh finally found a physical copy and got it.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Angel Eye is thinking about it, and I am not pushing anybody into doing anything. I was the one at work who got like a bunch of messages from like various people in the Discords about it. So
yeah,
even my friends around here, I was getting text messages from people. They were like, "Hey, do you play Helldivers?" Like, yeah, I am very far into it.
It's just
like, cool, jump on.
Man. Yeah. Sleeper hit of the year.
I messaged Rob and asked him if his PC could handle it. So he was like, I don't know, I'm on a 980.
Okay.
I mean,
which is minimum requirements.
Okay.
And because Rob has FOMO, he can't deal with minimum requirements. So like literally he was like, well, I don't know if I can run it. So I sent him over to Can I Run It, which is not called Can I Run It anymore, which is very disappointing to learn. I remember when it's called something else now. It's been bought out and it's something completely different. But if you Google Can I Run It, it's still the same.
Fandom presents some terrible website.
Oh, dude, you should find out what it's called because it's ridiculous. Just Google Can I Run It and it'll be the first hit. It's pathetic. But that used to be my go-to. There we go.
Sorry.
Go on.
Sorry, Google searched Can I Run It, and it returned with Can You Run It at systemrequirementslabs.com/CYRI.
Yep, got that one. There's also technical.city.
That's
English. Stupid. Can I run it? Yeah.
Jeez. There is more than a little issues I have with that. Because that used to be a site of its own, right, Boston? It used to be canirunit.com or something like that.
I believed so, yeah.
Back in the heady days when I was playing PC games at the time.
Back then, you just needed a copy of... Oh, God, what was that game? Started with a C. You played as Artemis or Aztec? There's 3 of them. Come on, we're all gamers. There we go, Crisis.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I said that like 3 times.
Oh, did you? I didn't hear. Crisis 1 still can melt computers to this day, from what I'm hearing from people who got all the good ones.
Really, really poorly optimized. That's why.
Yeah, and that's why that's the test bench for computers.
But I pointed Rob in that direction. I was like, check out this website. He's like, dude, I don't know what spec I've got. I was like, click the button, it runs a thing, and then it tells you if you can run it.
Right.
And now it's also full of like, get this computer that could run 100% of games ads too, or this computer runs 95% of games ads constantly.
Trade in your computer for an Alienware today.
That's right.
It's a website full of ads, and it's like, I get it, you have to make money, but come on, like this is a lot. And his was like, yeah, it runs at minimum spec. So like literally the next day, I get like screenshots of Amazon purchases and other purchases. It's like, look at what you made me do. It's like, I didn't make you do anything.
That's right.
I'm not Taylor Swift's ex. I didn't make you do anything.
Did this to yourself.
But apparently he then learned very quickly how easy graphics cards are to install, because now he's running a 4080, I think, or 4070. Right. So he jumped from a 9 to a 40.
Goodness.
So yeah, that will be my first official mission into Helldivers, will be when me and Rob are available, because my boy spent $600 to $700 so you can play a game with me.
Yeah. Friendship.
Yeah. But Nim, tell me about your Helldivers and then take over this conversation of hell, please.
Well, I was going to say, because this is the only thing I played this week, so that was why I was just letting you talk about it. Dude, all right, so I'm going to open up with this. I played this game so much this week that I got 2 emails from PlayStation.
Oh, boy.
One of them saying...
One of them, subject line, please stop.
Yeah, one of them just, great work out there, Helldiver. You're a true Helldiver. Stand down and take stock of your stats. And then it shows me, hey, you've spent all this time in Helldivers. This is, you've played 23 hours of Helldivers within 3-4 days. You've unlocked, 16 trophies in Helldivers. This is as of Friday. And then all this other stuff, hey, this is what you did on the front line and all that. Then I got another email today saying, you now go by Grand Lord, and then it puts my PSN username in there.
Defender of Super Earth.
Nice.
Yeah. This is how much more time you've put in since the last email.
No.
This is how many more trophies you've
I don't
unlocked since the last
know.
email. Yeah.
Don't tell me.
Oh, by the way, Whisper of War is my ship's name.
It's a good ship name.
But did you see what I was talking about when picking the ship name? All the dumb stuff you can come up with. And
really stupid.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, so outside of the 2 official PlayStation Helldiver emails that I've received saying, hey, maybe go touch grass for a little bit.
Take a breather, say hi to your family.
Yeah. I have really enjoyed the community that this game has developed, pretty much overnight. There are, like I said in the pre-show, I am in the Helldivers 2 Discord. I am in another Discord for Helldivers called the SESF, the Super Earth Special Forces Discord, because they release daily updates of, hey, this is what happened while you were sleeping, this is what we gained or lost, this is where we need most of the effort on the galactic map.
It's the community-run version of the Elite Dangerous.
That's what I was about to say. This is turning into Elite Dangerous super fast.
Yeah, because for anybody that hasn't played this, there's kind of this overarching kind of front. There's 2 fronts in this game that are being fought, and they progress in real time as people are defending and winning and losing games in these 2 fronts. So it's not just, I stopped playing and then everything's the same. When you go to bed or you stop playing for a couple of days, you come back and you're like, the bugs have advanced another sector. You need to go push them back and stuff like that.
Yep. There have also been weird community updates. All of a sudden, Trader Gant's Demon is being posted everywhere. I'm like, all right, what is this?
Huh.
So apparently their reprehensible act of treachery is this person at the extract. So at the end of every mission, you are basically doing an Alamo, where it's whoever's left in your squad is at the landing zone waiting for the shuttle to extract you. And you have to defend that spot, and it's usually a 2-minute wait for the shuttle to come to your location once you call for it.
Okay.
What's been happening with this guy is when the shuttle finally lands, this guy will go through and kill all the teammates before they can board, and then they will board themselves.
Gross.
Now, does it actually do anything in-game? Not really. You're missing out on some extra experience for having the full team extract. And you are also, unless he or she has been picking it up, any of the not supplies, but the samples that you pick up that you use for ship upgrades, each player, whatever they pick up, they hang on to. Now at the end, it gets shared amongst everybody. So if Moon had 2 and I had 3, everyone in the group gets 5, as long as we are both leaving at the end and we still have those samples. If we die, they drop, and other people can come and pick them up as well. So it's not a one and done kind of thing, but so you're not really losing anything. It's just stupid annoying, but
it's just a real jerk move.
Yeah, and this person has apparently done it enough that there have been quote unquote official videos putting out warrants for this guy.
They're now officially infamous.
Yeah, so people, as soon as this name shows up, people have just been kicking them out of matches. They've been killing them and not bringing them back, so they're just doing a 3-man squad.
Here is the question: Is this one of the devs leaning into the community, or is it what I think it is? It's just a dude being a troll and getting his just desserts.
It's probably the second, I would assume.
Yeah. And that's the thing, though, is that you can't, even as a troll, you can't troll enough to I mean, it sucks that you get all the way to extraction and the douche kills you.
Right. And you
I
lose
played
like a
enough
little bit of
Left 4
stuff.
Dead to know how this feels.
Yeah.
Right.
You lose a little bit, but it's not like you just spent like 45 minutes in a game. You just lost all progress.
And you
didn't
lose
earn
like
a
3
single
levels.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
the game is already set up that way so that it's not a big deal. It's just very annoying. And now the community has gotten to the point where it's like, all right, if you see this person, ahead of time, do whatever. So that sounds like what they're doing is, like I said, they're just kicking him as soon as he shows up. They're killing him and not calling him back in, so he eventually leaves. And that's about the extent of it. I'm sure there's death threats that have been sent because that's just where we're at in this day and age, but that's not the stuff that the community encourages, and that's
certainly not what we encourage here. No, don't send death threats. Be better than that.
No, but just the fact that we have gotten to this point now where it's like this treacherous activity has kind of become lore of the game.
Right.
All right, keep an eye out for this guy and handle him as you see fit kind of moment.
Right.
So we've had that. I have had somebody do this to me outside of this person one time in all of the matches that I've played.
That's not bad.
They were just annoyed at me because when they died, I grabbed their samples and went back to the extraction so that we could claim those.
Oh,
and
okay.
I guess he was just super annoyed that I grabbed his samples, and so he killed me, took the samples, and left.
Okay.
We still got those samples.
Right.
We all missed out on like I think it was like 25 XP boost.
Right.
For
I
all of us
still got him
out.
in the end, buddy. Like.
Yeah. So I just sat there and watched this guy suffer through the extraction, and I was like, all right, man, you just made this harder for yourself, but whatever.
Yeah.
So going back, since Moon is going to be figuring this out, before I even do that, I wrote down a bunch of like things that I've learned now that I've put in all this time in this game. Oh boy, where to start? Okay, difficulties. Difficulties are unlocked as you beat a mission under the previous one. There's like trivial, which is the very first one you get. Then you unlock easy once you've beaten something on trivial.
Okay.
The highest I have gotten is hard, which you unlock by beating a mission under challenging. And hard is hard. And I think hard is like the 6th difficulty unlock.
Wow. Okay.
There's one that's straight up called suicide. And then the other one's just called like Helldiver.
Oh, okay.
I can just really quick. I forgot to mention this. Can we talk about how cool it is that the tutorial mission is you getting your cape? Like that is how you become a Helldiver. Is you get your cape.
Did you also notice the I'm trying to think of how to say this. The tablets to the left and right of you as you're walking towards your cape.
Only heroes past this point, and all the other stuff.
So that line. This is why this game is so stupid and great at the same time. So when you get to that point where you walk into the room, you pass boot camp, and your cape is sitting there ready for you to put on. To the left and right of you are like these giant stone tablets. And if you read them, it's like a software licensing agreement. And
really
if you read it up to a point, it mentions that reading this agreement is a treacherous activity.
Great. Of course. Love it.
And the agreement is not agreed upon until you pass the line of heroes, which is what you have to walk past to get your cape. And there's nowhere else for you to go.
That's really good.
Yep.
This game.
Somebody took the time to actually photo all the tablets, and they're trying to, because it's kind of, depending on your system, it's kind of muddled. So they're trying to clean it up to see exactly what each and every tablet says. And I'm talking like I think there's like 8 or 9 tablets on each side of the walkway. So I mean, it's a heavy agreement that you're going with.
Right.
But yeah, that is great. The other thing that I have discovered, talking with a couple of people, I had thought that maybe every time you die, they send down a clone of you, because that's generally what video games, chalk it up to is, okay, you die, we're just going to clone you and send your clone out, and
we'll rehydrate a clone.
No. The first time you die, that's it for that character. That character no longer exists anymore. You're playing as a different character. You're playing as a different person every time. And
Oh,
it has
wow.
been brought up that you can set your character's voice to random, because every time you die, your character's voice changes to a different, unless you choose, it changes to a different voice set. So if you put it on random every time you die, you might be playing as a female, you might be playing as a male. Who knows?
Right.
But I thought that was kind of an interesting take on back to the whole Starship Trooper thing of you're just more meat to the grind for the grinder. Nobody cares. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of makes this world a little darker too. So the different difficulties just make it so that you're fighting different things. It doesn't necessarily make it easier per se, like the automated Terminator looking things that you end up fighting. On the harder difficulties, it's not that they take more bullets to kill, it's just there's a lot more of them at once, as well as the Berserkers and the Hulkbusters, which are huge, and tanks, and so it's not just them, it's a lot of them now, and a lot of the bigger units now that you have to
so
deal with.
They don't get more bullet spongy, there's just
Correct.
a lot more of them.
At least as of right now of this recording, that's how it's working out.
Okay.
You also get different samples that you can find in this world, because when you get dropped down, you're getting dropped into the, depending on the thing, because there are defense maps that you can do, missions, where you're dropped on a plateau and you just have to defend that until the timer's up. So you're not really exploring that much. But all the other ones, like, you are dropped on a full-sized map. And you can choose whichever way you want to go to complete objectives. And there's tons of like small things in all these maps. They call them like minimum, or they call them like there's many, small, large, and huge points of interest. Usually there's a lot of things that you have to fight with them, but that's where you can find like samples or extra weapons on the map and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Those samples are what you use to upgrade your ship. Because since you're not always playing as the same character you started with, you're not upgrading your character, you're upgrading what your ship can do.
Oh, I see.
And your ship also expands a little bit. And this is one of those dumb things that I love. Every time you put a point, or every time you get enough samples to upgrade a part of your ship, stuff gets added into your ship, or areas get expanded to show that, oh, hey, you have this upgrade now for the ship.
Right.
The turrets that you see going up the bridge will change depending on how far up that upgrade tree you are. So you start out with like this one dome turret at the very front. I'm at the point where that's gone, but I've got two major turrets to the left and right of where it used to be that have like a whole array of weapons on them that I can call down depending on how many of them I equip. And you can watch them get used by the other ships. So
oh, wow.
It's pretty sweet. You can also see other ships get blown up. Some of the ships, depending on if there's a lot of them in a given planet, they'll get close enough that you can read the names of other people's ships.
Oh, wow.
Because I have a screenshot of one. So,
that's interesting.
It's just crazy what they do with this game. The stratagems are what you use to call in things while you're in a mission, and they're QTE. So you have to do like D-pad button prompts. And
I think this is the
right
most
now.
fun.
So to call in a machine gun, you have to hold down on the PlayStation R1. I'm assuming it's the same on the Xbox R1. I don't know, or with an Xbox controller on PC, it's still R1. The right bumper,
left
whatever
bumper.
you want to call it, or left bumper. Yeah, left, right, whatever. Who cares? You'll figure it out, Helldiver. Don't listen to me.
That's right.
PC, I'm not sure what the key binding is for that, but you have to hold that down, and then you have a list of the stratagems that you equipped before you drop down for the mission, and each one has a certain amount of button presses that you have to do in order and correctly, or else nothing will happen. And the entire time your guy is holding like this ball that changes colors because it'll change red if it's a support, if it's defensive I believe it turns green, so you can see what you're typing in, and you can see the ball change colors as you're doing it. Some of them are super easy, like the Eagle Strike that I was using. You just hit the D-pad on the right 3 times. Throw the ball, Eagle Strike's coming in. For like the railgun that I just unlocked, it's like a 12-step program to get that thing called in. So, and some of the bigger strikes, like dropping like a 500-kilogram bomb, it's also like another 12-point, to get it going. And you kind of want them to be that way for some of them, because you do not want to accidentally call down something
Right.
that you do not intend to, because you do, like with the Eagle Strikes, if someone's in the area where they're doing a strafing run and one of our team's in there, they're caught up in it and they're dead. So you have to pay attention to where you're calling some of this stuff down at. But it's also fun. I've had to start doing, I figured out that I can do like this weird crab thing where if I'm running away from something and I have to call something down, I will keep running with my left hand. I will have the stick up and R1 or L1 pushed in. And then with my other finger, I will go under or above my thumb and I'll type in on the D-pad what I need while I'm still running so I can chuck it. So you can do more than one command at once, which is great. And it's bad because that's how you screw yourself up with like reloading. If you do anything else while the reload animation is happening, that new command takes precedent over the reload command, so you stop reloading.
Oh, okay.
Same thing with healing. If you do something else while you're trying to heal, it'll stop you from healing. So you have to be you have to know what you're doing and you have to do it. Like you can't just like flip between 50 different things and try to pull it off. It's not going to work.
You got to
commit.
Get
anything done. Yeah. So that's been a fun thing to figure out. The physics in this game are fun. They've been interesting. There's been a lot of videos about ragdolling everywhere. One of my favorite things that had happened to me was somebody was using a rocket launcher and I did not know it. And I ran behind them just as they were shooting it. And I was in the blowback field.
Oh, no.
And that actually blew me off the ledge that we were on.
Oh, wow.
So I had to run back up and around. I didn't even know what happened. I didn't know he was even there. And I just thought it was an explosion that hit me until I ran back up there and saw that he was primed up and reloading and getting ready to shoot again. I was like, oh, I bet you I was behind him. And so I ran behind him again while he shot. And yep, sure enough, it blew me right back off the ledge.
Wow. That's
I was
fun.
like, man, this is great. This game is stupid. Napalm is not your friend.
Right.
Let
Makes
everybody know you're using it because it will burn everything. Especially in the forest areas, you need to let somebody know you're calling in napalm, even if you don't use them.
No, you don't. No,
yes,
you
do.
don't.
Just let it ride.
Because I have seen full forests get burned to the ground.
Oh, gosh.
And none of us knew except for the person who called it in.
Person whistling and walking away.
Yeah. So this isn't like Battlefield destruction, but there is destruction. The buildings in here you can blow up if you call in a strike and all that stuff. You can create foxholes. If you blow up an area enough, you will start to create divots in the ground, which I have used before as foxholes, where it's like, I need a moment where I'm not getting shot in the back. I jump into this hole that we just created. Okay, that gave me enough time to reload my weapon, pop a stim, and I'm back up and shooting things now.
Right.
The thing with the napalm, it literally burnt down a forest. That forest was no longer there. We had line of sight for days on this map because of what this guy did without telling us.
Sure.
Which is cool. It's also kind of scary. Orbital strikes are another thing where it's like, hey, like the bombardment that I've unlocked, it's literally just, you see this beam and it'll tell you if you look at the beams what's being called in, so you know if you have to run away or not.
Oh, okay.
One of the bombardments that I have, I think it's like a 380 millimeter bombardment, and it's encompassing like an entire area. Like this is, I used it once and I was like, okay, I cannot use this without being on a microphone with people
Right.
because I thought I was far enough back and I was not, and I wiped out the entire party by accident.
Oh, boy.
So, and we were pretty spread out. So just fun things that you have to pay attention with that. Fog and sandstorms suck. So we were talking with pre-show about lighting and stuff like that and how this looks good, and it does. However, when you're in a heavily fogged area, like kind of like what the video that's currently playing right now, if you watch the stream,
they're on an automaton planet.
Yeah, you can see how you can see well enough in front of you, but you can't see all the way out in the distance. There are instances of sandstorms that I've been in that you cannot see past your character. You can barely see another partner next, another teammate next to you if they're standing next to you.
Oh, wow.
That's how bad it can get. It's even worse when you're trying to find, like, one of the missions I was doing. It was hunt down a charger, which is these giant armored bugs. I can't see it, and you're supposed to shoot it with, like, a rocket launcher because it's armored. So we would have to find it, tag it, run away from it, hope it's not chasing you down because you can't see it until it's on top of you. And then you have to try to shoot it without killing yourself or another teammate if possible.
Right.
And there are plenty of times where it's like I would turn around, like, I can't tell if... Nope, I'm dead because it charged me into a wall.
Right.
All right, cool. So you got a lot of that going on. A lot. It depends on what planet you're going to. Each planet is pretty different. I mean, they look similar after a while, but then you start getting, like, weathering effects. Like, I just had it rain for the first time. Like, a lightning storm came in. Never had that happen before. That was a weird, eerie feeling at nighttime because it was super dark, and then we get lightning storms. That was pretty cool.
Dang.
So there's all kinds of weird ambience that they do with this game, and it's not what I was expecting. It was like if Call of Duty did this. Like, I just wasn't expecting it, and it's really cool that it's there and it works. Let's see. Flashlights are on your guns. Not all of them, but some of them. If you, for you to find out, you hold down your reload button. Depending on the weapon, that'll let you change the fire rate. It'll let you switch your flashlight to either always on, always off, or to have it set to automatic, where if it's dark enough, it'll turn on. Or when you go to aim down sights, it'll turn on.
Yeah, I saw somebody posting online that not a lot of people knew that holding in the reload button brought up your gun's modifiers.
That's
and you can
why I'm bringing it up here.
Yeah, you can change a lot of stuff on a lot of guns that you maybe didn't know you could do, including like, I think somebody said you can overload the railgun in a way that is good and dangerous to you and others.
So, I just unlocked the railgun, and I saw that when... by default, your railgun is set with safety on.
Okay.
You can turn safety off.
Oh no!
I was like, that's weird. Like, I was thinking in my dumb gun ownership head, okay, safety's on. I have to turn the safety off to be able to use the railgun. Sure. That's what I was thinking.
Right.
When a railgun explodes because it's been overcharged, it's not just you that dies. It is a mountainside that dies.
That's
you remove a cardinal direction from a map when this thing blows up.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So lesson learned on that one. Safety just means that it won't go past that point when you have it charging. This is something that the game doesn't tell you. Like, this is just crap that I've learned while playing this. So it's, and I think that's why it's meshing so well with me, and that's why I loved Elite Dangerous so much, was, yeah, you could look this stuff up, and I'm sure somewhere in the game there's bits and pieces of this that it'll tell you about some of it, not all of it.
Though?
Exactly. I want to go flying through space backwards because I didn't realize that I turned my stabilizer off and I don't know how to turn it back on.
That is the moment in Elite Dangerous when you accidentally turn off your stabilizers and then you realize that you can get in a dogfight and do the Battlestar Galactica thing where they do a 180, keep flying the same direction, but are shooting backwards now because that's the direction they're facing. Yep. That moment in Elite Dangerous is one of the best moments.
I mean, Moon and I talk about this a lot on We Roguelike It too, where it's like, especially, with roguelikes and something like this, you can fire up the game and have the wiki, on another screen next to you, and you can play like that. But I think for us, a lot of the time, it's sort of like, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to fail, and that's okay, because a lot of times the failing part is pretty funny.
Yeah, and I am one of those people that misses manuals with video games. I miss having the thing to read, as a kid on the way back home, kind of thing. But then you get a game like this, where it's like, I'm glad they did not do manuals for this game, because just figuring out is the dumb fun part in all of this. The thing that I learned, boosters have unlimited usage. You guys have it on, once you've played more, you will unlock, I think it's like a hexagonal thing when you're equipping stuff that you won't have anything for until you get further in the war bonds. And then you'll unlock Vitality Booster is one of them, which allows Helldivers to resist injury or be more resistant to injury. Another one is called Hellpod Space Organization, which this one allows you to come out of a Hellpod with fully stocked ammo for all your weapons, grenades, and stems.
Oh, wow. That's great.
That seems useful.
And those are just like the first two that you get. Everyone can choose one, but you can't have redundant ones. So if someone chooses like the only one or two that you have, that's it. And it works for everybody. So as long as one person has it equipped, everyone gets the benefit of it.
That's really cool. That's smart.
And it's also unlimited use. So every mission you have like whatever whatever boosters you've unlocked you can use. So
that's cool.
Another thing that I have learned is when you call in a support weapon, when you were not using it, like in my case, I was using like machine guns, rocket launcher, and just recently the railgun I unlocked. When you're only using your primary, your support weapon or advanced weapon goes on your back.
Mm-hmm.
You can still have a backpack on your back, even if you have a support weapon on your back.
Mm.
This is very helpful because I just learned it today, actually. Somebody called in an extra shield, and it's a backpack. Whenever anyone calls in anything, anyone on the field can grab that thing, but usually everyone lets whoever called it in use it, kind of thing. But if you get extras or your time expires so that you can call in a new thing, people will call in extras so that everyone can have something extra to fight with.
Mm-hmm.
I grabbed a shield booster. That went right on my back. I called my railgun in. That also went on my back.
Okay.
Oh, cool. So you can have two things on your back. There is a backpack called a guard dog, which is a flying little UAV with a gun attached to it, and it will fly around, and anything that's an enemy close by to you, it will just shoot. And there are variants of it.
Nice.
So that is very helpful to know if that's one of the stratagems you want to have. You can have a support or heavy and a backpack as well. It's not going to interfere with anything.
That's cool.
And it's also really fun. Eagle stratagems, when you get those, they all say has 3 uses, has 2 uses, has 1, or has 4.
Mm-hmm.
That does not mean, I just found this out again today because I was experimenting. That does not mean once you've used all 3, you're just out and that's it for the mission. What that means is, depending on what it has, like the strafing run that I was doing, I can call that in 3 times. It then has to go back to the ship and refuel and rearm and then come back.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it has that cooldown. It's like, okay, you've used all 3 of these now, and there's like, at least with the strafing, there's like a 30-second cooldown between each time you've called it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've used your 3rd one, it goes on cooldown for like 2 minutes because it's going back to the ship to refuel and rearm, and then it comes back, and then you can call it again.
Gotcha.
You can also send it earlier if you want. If you don't want to wait to use all 3 of them, but you've used like the first 2 or 1 of them and you want to have 3, you can send it back early and have it refuel and rearm so you have the full 3 stack for it as well. So that was a big reason why I didn't use any of the Eagles for the longest time, because I was like, well, that seems kind of stupid that I only get to use them 3 times and that's it for the mission kind of thing.
Right.
But that is not the case. A big one that I just learned yesterday: when the mission timer hits 0, that does not mean the mission is done. That does not mean that the mission has failed. All that means is your carrier has left you behind.
Mm.
And you continue the fight without reinforcement, without drops.
Oh,
you cannot call anything.
Oh, wow.
So if there's 4 of you and one of you dies, that's it. There's 3 of you now.
Oh, okay.
If you did not call in supplies before your ship left and you just used your last magazine, you better start punching stuff, because that's you're not getting anything else.
Interesting.
Now, it varies from mission, but most missions you have 45 minutes. You don't have to use the full 45. They're just giving you 45.
That's your maximum, essentially.
Yeah. So during that time, you can keep using your stratagems the entire time, no problem. Even your reinforcement, when someone dies and you call it in, that has a stock number to it too. When you've used all of those, it doesn't mean you can't do reinforcements anymore. Once you've used the last one and the dial gets to 0, it then goes on a cooldown, and I think it's like every 2 minutes. it'll refill to 1 stock, and that's it. And then you'll use it, and then 2 minutes will go by, and it'll refill 1 stock. So
Gotcha.
you're not fully screwed, but you're getting there.
Right.
What else? Hugging has been a real big thing in this community. There's a hugging emote.
Great. I love it.
I've seen the salute one. That's the only one I've seen so far.
So yes, there is a salute one, and we can salute each other. The best thing about these emotes, you do not need the emote to interact with it. So when I got into a game, there was someone that was a higher level than me that was sitting there and hugging everyone that was coming out of cryo freeze, because that's the other thing. When you start the game, your character comes out of a pod because you were frozen.
It's really cool.
Yeah, you're still covered in frost, and you've got
it's got like frost and it melts off as you get further into the ship. It's a really nice effect.
Yeah, so this one co-op game that I was doing, every time somebody would come out of the cryopod, he would stand there, arms out, and hug. And if you walk up to them, there's a prompt where you hit X on PlayStation, and you can hug each other.
Nice.
And so he would sit there and hug everyone that came onto the mission, and then we started the mission and went. And I was like, this is
great.
It's the dumbest, weirdest thing ever. Before we left that group, he let us know, because you can also do chat. You don't have to do a microphone, but there is a type chat that you can do where you can type in if you have a keyboard, or you can use the standard PlayStation or PC chat line. He let us know, hey, this is the last mission. We completed that mission. Guy went around, hugged all of us, kicked us all out of his game.
All right, fair enough.
It's gotten like this weird, stupid, wholesome thing to it. The last big group that I played with, they all had their microphones on. They all knew each other. I didn't put my headset on or anything, but you can hear them in the background audio. And they were all just like they were doing voices. One of them was doing like a real southern draw, trying to be like a drill instructor kind of thing, while yelling at the other two. And I was just kind of there giggling to myself while playing. And we had gotten to a point where they're all dead. This is the match that I learned that when the reinforcement stack hits 0, it doesn't mean you can't reinforce anymore. You're just on the timer waiting. So I was the last one alive, and I'm like, well, screw this. We completed all the objectives. I am getting out of here.
Right.
So I run to the LZ in those 2 minutes, and that was the most harrowing 2 minutes that I've had in a video game in a long while, because every time I would sneak past one, and that's the other thing, you can sneak past units. You don't have to fight. You can go prone and crawl for a little bit, or if you run wide enough, they won't see you.
Oh, okay.
So I was sneaking past units, fighting what I had to get past, but I didn't want to fight a whole lot, because every time you get seen, something would call in a drop ship, and then it would drop off like a ton of heavy hitters. And I'm like, I'm just one person. I cannot do this. I get all the way to the LZ, and I can hear them talking because they're like, he's not going to make it. He's not going to do it. And I'm sitting there inputting the command for the shuttle to come in. I got my drops coming down just in time before our super carriers left, because that was the other thing. I was getting close to the end of the mission timer.
Right.
So I was able to get all that. I was able to call down one reinforcement before the carriers left while we were waiting for the shuttle to come in. And they're sitting there talking like all this stuff. It's like, oh man, this is our savior and blah, blah, blah. Shuttle finally lands. I go running for the door, and the guy starts pretending freaking out, and he hits me. And it's at the weirdest angle that my person ragdolled and went flying off of the zone.
Oh no.
And he goes running on the ship. I'm like, you
how dare you?
Yeah. So I go running back up the ramp all the way around to the LZ, and just as I'm getting to the back of the ship, the guy threw down something and it blew up and killed me.
Oh my god.
And since I was the last person on the team besides him, he was already on the shuttle. That ended the mission. It flew off with him.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, man, you suck. And then all of his friends that were on there, I could hear him. Was like, why did you do that? Why are you being such an a-hole right now?
What are you doing, man?
And he was like, I was just being funny. I didn't think it would send him flying. And I didn't think my grenade was going to kill him. So we get on, and I just put in the chat once we got back in the ship. I just put LOL. I'm like, no hard feelings. I can hear you guys, rolling them for it, whatever. Guy walks up to me, gives my character a hug, and he's like, I'm super sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'm like, it's all good. And we continued with the mission. So, I mean, it's just dumb, wholesome stuff like that. And that's all I've been doing this week.
Nice.
I'm going to leave you with one last thing from this game.
Mm-hmm.
Up on the ceiling, up on the ceiling, there is a TV that doesn't always display something, but eventually, or every once in a while, it will play a random thing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the shows that it plays is something called Brash Tactics, brought to you by, I think it's like Commander Brash.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like these little game tips that it tells you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to leave you with this one game tip called the ABCs of Combat. ABCs of Combat is always be taking cover. And taking, when they have ABCs up on the screen, they shove the T in between B and C and make it lowercase t. And they're like, and remember, cowards don't hide from bullets. Freedom warriors kill everything.
Is that the game show that's voiced by the Drifter from Destiny? Because he's a voice of one of those.
He sounds super familiar. I haven't been able to place him. But they've got, if you look at the IMDb for this game, they have a lot of known names just doing small little voice takes.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I was hearing, everyone who's had a part in any of the VAs in this game absolutely loved it.
Oh, nice.
So yes, Helldivers 2 has just become my obsession until Rebirth comes out.
Right.
That's part of the other reason why, because I do not want to get into another video game right now that I can't just drop.
Exactly.
And I think it's going to be hard to drop this one, but it's not like mechanically. I'm not playing a Souls game, so it's not like, oh, I haven't touched this in 2 weeks or 2 months.
You can pick it back up.
Yeah, so that's why I'm going really hard with this game, and I am just loving every single minute of it. I just want to keep playing this game, so
nice.
That's all I played this week.
General Brash is Todd Habercom.
Yeah, that's the Drifter.
Rook in Grand Blue Fantasy.
Yeah, that's the Drifter. He's great.
There you go.
The
ironic thing is, it is a very Drifter-esque kind of role he's playing too, where he just is constantly espouting freedom instead of profit.
Yep. It's so good.
To tie this around full circle, the TV commercials and shows they used to show on your ship is like watching those Metal Gear Solid 4 clips when the game was loading.
Yeah, the like TV channels at the beginning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So good. All right, I only have 2 quick ones this week. First one is Remnant 2. We got a chance to dive back into this. Continuing to go through the that kind of like red, foresty, wooded, the Witness area. Fought another boss this week. A lot of our time was spent going... So, how the Remnant 2 works is largely how Remnant 1 works, where you have kind of a large hub area that you're exploring, and then you'll find a bunch of dungeons essentially off of it. You go through a yellow door, you'll do a kind of a big dungeon that'll loop back in on itself. Sometimes you fight a boss, sometimes you don't. Usually you're just kind of in there to get a specific loot item. And then once you come back to the kind of main hub area, it's like a hub and spoke thing. Then you'll continue on and you kind of repeat that until you fight the boss, and then you fight the big boss. And we spent the majority of our time getting lost in one of the dungeons. It was one of those where it looked an awful lot like you could jump off of this platform and land onto another one, and then you definitely could not. So it was a lot of us figuring out where the safe spots were. And I came in late, and the Bill and Hannah had figured out some sort of spinning saw death puzzle before I got there, which was fun. we barely figured out there was like a whole bunch of descending very small rock platforms that had symbols on them. Some of the platforms had invisible pathways between them, but we couldn't figure out which ones. So it was just this like, all right, all three of us are just going to throw ourselves at this puzzle and just try and jump, and try and get down there. Which, one of the things I really love about Remnant is if anybody in the party picks up a piece of gear or loot or a weapon or like one of those tomes of knowledge that gives you a skill point, everybody gets it. And that's so great. So it's not like, one of the most frustrating things about some of these games is like, all right, all three of you have to do the puzzle perfectly and we're all going to wait by the treasure chest and we all have to, it's none of that. It's like, all right, you got through it. There's a pressure plate over here that disables the puzzle. Treasure chest is here. It's just one person needs to pick it up and then you're all good. And I greatly appreciate that because there's nothing worse than like, all right, jumping puzzle time. Everybody's got to stay here and, the Destiny thing of like, we're going to stay here and silently judge you as you fail this jumping puzzle for the 50th time. It's
everybody
getting late.
Else can make it. Why can't you?
Yeah, get it together. Like I've been on the receiving end of that. I don't know how many times.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciate that. We haven't had a ton of time to play this lately, which is just, how scheduling goes. But hopefully we fought a boss this week that was like some giant tentacle thing that also had another boss with it. It was like a giant rock guy with some swords, and he kept duplicating his sword arms. So you would just be shooting this boss, and then two other sword arms would be behind you, slicing you up, and he's like all the way across the level. So that was kind of a fun boss fight. But not too much to report on that, other than, hey, it's still good. You should still play these games. Start with the first one if you haven't. First one's still great.
Yeah, I would say from what little bit I played of the second one, the areas seem way bigger than, because Remnant 1 is usually there are tiny areas off the main path that you can explore, but there's not huge branches. And Remnant 2, the first area I was in, it's a whole map.
Yeah, it's way bigger.
Yeah, but figure out where to go.
Thankfully, not too big where it's like, oh god, we're running into one of these again. All right, let's go. And it never feels like you're being punished for exploring or doing the content, which is really nice, because I feel like that has to be kind of a tough balancing act. So
yeah,
Remnant 2 is great. 2 thumbs up. But the vast majority of my week this was Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth. I've been playing as much of this to also get this done before Rebirth comes out at the end of this week, which we'll talk about here in releases. But I think I started at chapter 6 or so, and I'm finishing up chapter 12 now. So I'm kind of getting ready to put the bow on this game. Again, no spoilers here. I was pretty worried about the story for a really long time, because unlike some of the other ones I played, the story kept kind of getting bigger and bigger and bigger and continuing to fan out in a way that they kept introducing new threads that they weren't really tying up. But I was really happy that one of the things I recently played started tying up all of that stuff very quickly in a way that felt really good. And it wasn't just like, oh, we're going to tie all these up. Here's an explanation, whatever. Like they started tying this into everything in the game in a way that I thought felt really good so far. I haven't finished it, so they might stumble here at the end, but they haven't really stumbled on any of these games before, so I'm kind of not expecting them to fail to stick the landing here.
Yeah.
I also have still, every time I start a new chapter, they're like, all right, here we go. The game just got way bigger. It's like, oh no, okay. There's more stuff. Oh gosh, okay. I really wish I could talk about more of it, but I really don't want to spoil anything. Because there's there's a significant amount of stuff that they're kind of pulling on and kind of wrapping up in this game. So I don't want to mention too much of it, but there hasn't been anything that I unlocked and I'm like, oh god, here we go. Nothing like that. And I've actually been, I was talking to Bill Savert about this the other day. I've been really, really happy with how they continue to. I was talking about it last week where you have those bond ranks. Like the more you fight with and spend time with your party members, the more things they can do in battle. And now that I'm starting to max out those bonds with my party members, there's still even more stuff they can do in battle. So it's not just knocking you into other characters, knocking enemies into other characters and them doing damage, but it's also doing follow-up attacks on the ground. Now they're doing more damage. They're doing way more stuff. Now that party members are next to each other, they can do combo attacks. So we're kind of 2 people are attacking at once that are then knocking that enemy into 4 other enemies to do a ton of damage, and then someone comes from the top ropes and just attacks them again. So it's like one command is attacking 5 enemies 5 times, and it feels really good because Nimp, you know this in a lot of RPGs. It's like even by the end of the game, it's like attack, attack, attack. Okay, I killed 3 enemies. Attack, attack. Yep. Okay, I killed 3 more. But like this feels like I'm way stronger and my party's way stronger, and the stuff we've been doing, like talking while we're having meals in town and talking as we're walking around town and like building those bonds with your party actually does pay off. And now I even have tag team attacks where you're filling up this like little infinity symbol, and when that fills up, that character and then your main character like Ichiban, they'll do a huge big attack for free. It doesn't cost you MP or anything. And it'll do a ton of damage and kind of show a huge area of attack it'll do, either like in an area or in kind of in a straight line. So and that's not even talking about like the summoning you can do, the pound mate system. Like there's so much stuff in the game that I feel like manages to make you feel strong because of the investment you've put into the game. Like I'm sure it's counting pause time. My PS5 is like, you've played this for 85 hours so far and you're still not done. Which is great.
Is that pause time or is that just pause time?
Yeah, I think part of it is pause time, but I have still spent an incredible amount of time with this game because I feel like doing all of that stuff really does pay off. And then in this game, I don't remember them doing it in the last one, but you have your personality system. So it's like kindness, intelligence, charisma, that sort of stuff. You have those 5 stats.
Yeah.
As you invest in those, that increases your resistance to enemy effects. So like courage increases your resistance to fear. And it does like 3 or 4 times as you go through the 10 ranks. But those ranks also power up your spells. So like your, I don't remember if it's intelligence or passion or something, but like the higher that goes up, the larger the radius is of your healing spell. So as you invest in side stories and exploring town and doing things in town, like taking the taxi or playing darts or eating out at restaurants or things like that, that's not just, oh, I'm going to do the cool stuff around town. They are cool, but that is that investment is powering up your character's skills at the same time. So you start off with this very small radius for your healing spell at the beginning of the game, and now that I'm hitting rank 8, rank 9, that's significantly bigger, and it's way easier for you to heal your entire party with one attack rather than having to manipulate where you're sitting at. And speaking of moving around, the higher you level your character's level up, the bigger that movement circle is. So now that I'm like level 45, 47, something like that, that movement radius is huge, and it's only getting bigger. So it's easier to position yourself next to party members to combo. It's easier to get you next to or behind enemies. That does extra damage, or you're aiming the enemy to hit them into another enemy to do that pinball stuff I've been talking about. Like, it's really impressive that all of this stuff, like every part of the game and all of the different gameplay elements, feed into each other in a way that feels really good. And we don't typically see that in JRPGs. We typically see, well, that sword that you got is 10 strength higher, so good job. You can still attack one enemy. Like there wasn't that investment payoff, really.
I think that's kind of why I got really into Legend of Heroes more so now, because it's gotten to that point where you start a boss battle and there's 5 different ways you can start the fight, and each one of those paths could lead you to beating a boss in one move.
Yeah.
It's like you unload everyone's S crafts on them, and then you do their supers, and then you managed to knock out their their guards, so now you get to do an all party attack, and there goes the spell that just completely annihilated them. It's like sweet.
And
I love
Cosmic
the
Cow
domino stuff you can do in games.
Yeah, like that stuff feels so good when you've been playing for 50 hours and you've been doing all this stuff around town, like the stuff that's just fun to do. And I'm going to shake all these trees in Hawaii because some fruits will fall out of them, and I need those to craft like superfoods to heal my entire party's HP and MP at the same time. So tough boss battles will make it significantly easier. But also it's just kind of fun to do, to hit the square button and he just, shoulder checks a palm tree and a bunch of fruit falls out. Like that's cool. I'm going to keep doing that. Cosmic Cow in chat says just bought Infinite Wealth a few hours ago. It's like saying hello to an old friend. And that's been my experience here too with this game is the previous game, Yakuza Like a Dragon, was really about introducing you to Kasuga, to Ichiban, and just saying like, hey, Kiryu, after Yakuza 6, Kiryu's gone. Check the story of that game for details. So here's your new guy. We're really going to focus on him because we really need you to love him, because not only are we changing the battle system, we're changing your entire party, we're changing every character. Like, we're really kind of setting aside the previous 7 games that we made. So, we're going to put him at the forefront. And part of the thing that's, I think, is really interesting about Infinite Wealth, again, not spoiling anything, is it does definitely feel like, all right, now that you know about Kasuga, now we're going to start kind of passing the torch a little bit in a way that I think is really interesting. Like, now that you know and you love Kasuga, and now that RGG is really happy that everybody loved the battle system change, because that was the big inhale for them, was like, oh, it's not a beat 'em up RPG anymore, it's a turn-based. I hope you like Dragon Quest. God, okay, you did. Yeah, all right. Woo. It's nice to see them continuing to build on that foundation here, and it's just really good. Like, I can't, and I'm really impressed that anytime that they have to pull on anything that happened in the previous games, they do a really good job of giving the kind of basic Cliff's Notes and saying, like, here's this character, or here's what happened, or here's the storyline that happened, and here's what it kind of meant to the characters that were involved. Now we're going to kind of keep going forward. So if you didn't play any of those, like I haven't, I'm still only halfway through Kiwami 2, like, you still get a good idea, and you've probably picked it up via osmosis through the internet anyway, but it's nice to see them at least try, instead of a dude just coming up on screen and you're just like, who's that? What's going on? So they do a really good job with that, which I appreciate. Trying to think if there's anything else. It's largely me kind of motoring my way to the end while kind of trying to outpace the leveling a little bit. Like everything I'm playing right now is level 40 and I'm between 45 and 47. And thankfully this game doesn't scale levels. So I'm going into fights and I'm just mowing through dudes. Like boss fights are still pretty challenging, but they're not impossible. And that's been great.
That's something else I've been noticing too with modern RPGs is levels don't, even if they're not scaling, being like 5 levels higher than something doesn't really matter anymore. And I kind of hate it.
It's really frustrating. Like if I spent a bunch of time in one of the so the last game, Yakuza Like a Dragon did this too, where they had kind of randomly generated repeatable dungeons, and they're really meant to be later to post game content for you to gain money really easily or gain crafting materials really easily. You can also use it to fill out the Suja decks, which is really, it's the Pokedex, and like just fill that stuff out at the same time if you're trying to go for completion on that. But that's been a really good place every once in a while to go in and just do a little bit of leveling. And I also hate that thing. Like I should be able to go in there and spend an hour and just grinding and complete like another set of 10 floors, fight a couple bosses and come out with, you know, some genuinely actually pretty cool gear that you can equip, and then crafting materials to kind of continue to upgrade and craft and invest in the weapons that I'm using. I don't want all of that work to not mean anything the next time I do a story mission and fight a boss. Like, I'm okay with the boss still being tough, but if I go in and the boss, you know, thankfully the game still does this, where it'll pop up a little window and be like, there are a number of fights upcoming. There will also be a number of cutscenes. You should really save now, and then it'll say like X to continue. And then it will give you, after that, I'll say like, all right, the fights will be level 40, and the gear recommendation is like 4-star gear or higher. I should be able to go in at level 45 and just wipe the floor with that stuff. And the boss will probably be like level 42 because it's a boss, but I'm still 45 and I can still do pretty well, you know, healing up and trying to do clean status effects and stuff like that. But it shouldn't be this impossible thing unless the boss is one you're not supposed to win against, because that's a JRPG, you know, favorite. But I hate that too. I've been really frustrated with that about RPGs lately as well, where it's like, all right, you did all this grinding, you have the ultimate weapons, let's go fight this regular boss. Whoops, it's impossible. It's like, come on, man.
Is for the longest time also why I never use status effects in RPGs, because bosses are either always immune or super resistant, so they're pointless. And there's only like a handful of them that allow you to do that anymore.
And these games are so great for that, this one and the previous one, because they do a really smart thing that bosses, like usual, are immune to certain status effects, but they're usually weak. If not weak, then susceptible to most of them. But a lot of bosses will do the thing where, you know, your party gets all their turns. They'll do 2 turns back to back, and then your party will get their turns. But if you put some sort of damaging thing like a bleed or a poison on them, something like that, for both of those turns, they get hit with that poison or bleed damage.
Good.
And that's great, because there's a fight near the end of the previous game that was really tough, and the character had really high defense, and they took 3 turns at once, but you could really easily poison or bleed them, and then they're taking 3 times that much damage every single turn. So you get that kind of like almost feeling like you're cheating moment, and that's the stuff that I think is really great. When JRPGs do this stuff really well, it's like you almost got away with a status effect. It's like I'm gaming the system a little bit. I'm using the boss's advantage against them, which is great. They do more of that. So Infinite Wealth is really great. That it's the only, like you with Helldivers, Nib, it's the only thing I have wanted to play this week. Anytime I have had a chance to sit down and like sit for 30 minutes. I'm going to progress the story. I'm going to do, part of a dungeon. I'm going to try and do as many sub-stories as I can. I'm going to try and make progress to try and at least finish the story of this before Rebirth comes out. That way I can kind of do all the extra stuff, the sub-stories and the side content once I'm kind of done with it. So
how plausible do you think that's going to be for you to beat this before Rebirth?
I have 3 chapters left, it looks like. So
okay.
It seems fair. As long as I can stop doing so much side story stuff. I really gotta stay away from the arcade. I really gotta stay away from those UFO machines. Gotta stay away from all the sub stories. I can
all the fun
wait
stuff.
I can wait to do that. I can stop taking photos all over town. I gotta stop being who I am and just kind of finish up the game. So
that's my other new complaint with modern JRPGs, the final chapter being as long as all 12 previous chapters, or the final boss or the final dungeon being all previous dungeons slammed into one, because it's like, come on, guys.
The one thing about these games that's usually is usually the case, and I'll see if it's the case here in Infinite Wealth, but it's usually a ton of cutscenes, because you're really wrapping up the story, and then 3 or 4 of the coolest boss fights you've ever fought back to back, and then a long cutscene to finish up the game. So it's usually, you don't even get a dungeon, because it's usually all the events of the story have led up to this moment. You're just gonna go do it. You've probably been through this dungeon at least once before, because it's usually a Yakuza building or safe
or
house,
or
the Millennium Tower. That's that in half of these games. So usually it's look, we've been here, we've done this before, we know who the boss is going to be, we know who the final boss is. Let's go do the thing, and then we're going to have some of the rawest, coolest boss fights you've ever fought in an RPG here at the end. So I appreciate that too. These games are great. I wholeheartedly recommend them. I think there's going to be something in here that people are going to like, kind of no matter what, and it's impressive how this still manages to keep up, having the tender moments. I've already cried ugly cry once. I'm not even done with the game, so heaven help me. And managing the cool Yakuza. Yeah, it's going to be bad. But it manages the cool Yakuza story, it manages the fun, silly side story stuff. You're still doing the UFO catcher for a kid that really wants stuff. You're doing all of the cool stuff, and it still manages to balance that stuff really well, which I appreciate. So nice. Enough about Infinite Wealth. I'll wrap that up this week. That's all I've been playing. The dream. Yeah, live in the impossible dream. Putting one JRPG, finishing one JRPG before another one comes out. Truly the impossible dream.
That's why I'm not playing any other games right now besides
also, no one asked about Persona 3 Reload. Don't even worry about that. That's not you never heard that. You never saw that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's all I've been playing this week. Let's take a break.
Yup.
Alrighty. Let's make sure I got all my stuff here. Where are my show notes? There you are. Hello.
Boy, I don't know what we're having for dinner, but I smell bacon already.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Let's
wrap this thing up then.
I miss bacon so much.
Let's get some.
I'm probably going to have to now at this point. Yeah, myself a nice. You know what? I miss a fucking solid BLT. I'm not even a fan of tomatoes, but a real nice BLT.
Yeah.
I haven't had a nice BLT in a real long time. That sounds really good.
A little bit of mayonnaise, some honey mustard, just lightly toasted bread. Some people go darker, whatever. It's fine.
I don't have a dark toast on mine usually.
Bread should be the same texture as a tea. Golden brown texture like sun. That should be my toast and tea meeting.
That's right.
Is golden brown.
Consistency across all this stuff. All right. You guys ready to wrap this up?
Yup.
Sure.
All right. Piece of mustache in my mouth. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of February 26, 2024. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons remake comes out on PS5, series consoles, and PC. This...
if you haven't played this and you don't know what this is, Google nothing. Play it.
just go play this game. We really liked it when we played it for Game Club. It's not super long, maybe a handful of hours at most, and is certainly a unique tale. And it largely looks like it's the same thing as before, and it just looks better. They just put a new coat of paint in it, and it has local co-op this time, which I'm not sure I would recommend playing it local co-op.
Honestly, play it single player.
Yeah,
it's designed single player. Play it single player.
At least for your first.
There is a reason.
Yeah,
we just can't tell you why.
At least for your first playthrough, you should probably play it single player. I could see this being a fun thing to play co-op, maybe for future playthroughs, but you should really play your first one single player. So next game here, Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster comes out. PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Console, Switch, and PC. This is Night Dive Studios. They made the remasters for Blood, Quake 2, Turok 1 and 2, System Shock. So they're kind of the hot new remaster house here. If
memory serves, Dark Forces leads to Jedi Academy, which leads to it's a continuation throughout the different games, right?
There's something there, yeah. I loved this game when I was a kid. I played so much of this on PC when it came out, and I'd be curious to see if it still holds up and how much. I remember it being a game that had a lot of frustrating dips in it of just like, oh, this mission, oh, this really sucks, oh boy. So I'm wondering how much they've kind of smoothed the edges of that a little bit. But it was cool when it came out, and it seems like they did a really good job here in kind of preserving what's a cool thing. So check that out.
I am starting to enjoy, it's probably just the old man in me, when we get like these re-releases and they don't, it's like, okay, it runs on current consoles, but it's still polygon. Like, we didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's not like a 4K Unreal Engine 5.1, like,
or even if it is,
ray
it's
traced
4K and this thing has like 6 polygons.
Exactly. Yeah, because like that's the thing, is that these games don't really need to be crazy full remakes of this stuff. They just kind of need to be available. And they haven't been. I'm sure GOG has them. You can run it in DOSBox or whatever, but if you have a PS4, you have a Switch, you have an Xbox, they weren't really available for you to play, and that's kind of just what they need to be. And that's what I appreciate what Night Dive's been doing, is like, yeah, man, here's the game. And we've, they've done a little bit of work on cutscenes and stuff, which makes sense, but like, that's about it. So that's cool. I like it. Last but certainly not least, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out on PS5. So this is, I mean, we're going to be talking about it next week, surely. I think it comes out on Friday. It comes out on the 29th.
You two are going to be talking about it next week.
Yeah. The Royal Nimp and the Royal JRPG fans. I haven't really seen anything about this. I didn't play the demo or anything because I'm just going to be buying the game.
The trailer you have on is the most I have seen of Rebirth so far.
Yeah, ditto. I've seen Red 13 riding a chocobo, which
I haven't even seen that. I've just heard everyone saying it is the best thing in the world.
Yep, it's very good. And then Square Enix has been saying that this game ends at the midpoint of the original Final Fantasy VII. Wherever that is, I don't know. I mean, I can assume, but we'll see. With how interesting the timeline of Final Fantasy VII is now, I don't even know if I would want to.
That midpoint?
Probably. I mean,
Maybe.
the midpoint for me, I would consider would be the Temple of the Ancients.
Yep.
And kind of that entire story revelation at the end of there. So we'll see. I mean, shockingly, all the reviews for this game have been really good. Oh, wow. Ooh, who saw it coming? Wow. So we'll see what this turns out to be, but I'm mostly excited after the remake just to see what this thing turns out to be, because I have now, after that first game, I don't know. And I'm very excited just to see.
Yeah, and that's kind of the best part. Like, we're getting introduced to characters that didn't have the time of day in the game. That they were mentioned. Some of them were mentioned. Some of them are new to the remake. But it has been really cool just seeing what they do.
Yeah.
And I don't want to relive one of these scenes in 4K HDMI, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Is that Yuffie? Is Yuffie finally going to be in the game?
She was in the first one in the DLC.
Yeah, Yuffie and Vincent are not optional missable characters from what Square has said. They're you get them now.
Vincent will be in Rebirth, but he's not playable.
There's Vincent.
Yeah, he's not playable, Vincent. But Red 13 is this time. So
I don't care about no cat that talks. Give me the vampire.
How dare you? How heresy? How dare you? But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to keep it spoiler free on this because I know there's copies out there and everybody's just like rubbing their hands together about, you know, gleefully spoiling a huge video game. So
I'm just really looking forward to it, and I want to listen to Sid because how they did Barrett in the last one. They're not going to change Sid. It seems like
probably not.
Sid has a lot of problems that are going to get brought up that he needs to work through. Yeah, and I hope they handle it correctly.
Yep. Yeah. So
you guys will have to let me know if the new version of One Winged Angel is any good.
I can tell you already, based on the previous game. Yeah, it's very good. There were three versions of it in the previous game. I was going to say, they're all very good.
There's only versions of it, and each version gets better. So
yeah, man, there's one.
It's still the Kingdom Hearts version, by the way. So far,
there's in the previous game. There's a like slow, creepy version of it, almost like the Trail of Blood from the original Final Fantasy VII. That's just, it's real good. So. There's probably going to be... I'm going to assume they still have the Nibelheim flashback in this game, so you probably have a pretty good opportunity for that to show up there, mayhaps. So,
oh man, this is going to be perfect for the Calm recap. I just thought of that because I bet with how the DLC left off, it sounds like Rebirth is going to start in Calm, where they have the massive Nibelheim recap and all that thing, which was a super pain if you were replaying 7, the original, but now it's going to be like a 45-minute movie.
Hopefully. Back to the PS1 days.
Kojima's making this game?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Gosh. They might as well.
Imagine it. Imagine the power. All right, let's move on to
strands to the final version.
That's right. Yes, please. Final Fantasy VII is a strand game. Let's go. All right, let's do two quick news stories here. First one is Microsoft confirms what games are coming to other platforms. This is kind of the last week they were like 4 older games. Who knows? But the rumors are true. So Pentiment, Pentiment is out right now. Switch, PS4, and PS5. If you haven't played Pentiment, it's really good. We had quite a good time with it on Game Club when we played it 2 years ago, last year, sometime recently, last couple of years.
Whenever it came out.
Yeah. Hi-Fi Rush comes out on PS5 on March 9th. I might dive back into this. I never finished that, but I might dive back into this when it comes out on PS5, depending on how much it costs. If it's too expensive, I will probably just install it on my PC, because it's still on Game Pass.
Wasn't it $30 on the Xbox outside of Game Pass?
That might be too much. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is $70, so woof. Grounded will be coming out April 16th, Switch, PS4, and PS5. You've probably heard Moon talking about that a lot, the survival crafting co-op backyard thing.
I'm just saying, Boston, now is a perfect time.
Yeah,
It's your
I
platform
can
of choice. It
play
is
on the
your
platform I like.
control of choice. It
That's
is
right.
everything you want right
My
there,
choice.
ready to go.
That's
Yeah,
right.
another massive game before another massive game comes out.
Exactly. Right.
$29.99, by the way, is Hi-Fi Rush.
Okay, yes, the 30.
That's a little pricey. And lastly here, Sea of Thieves comes out April 30th on PS5. I'm especially for Sea of Thieves, I'm excited for that community to get kind of another injection of players
And
in
for
it.
a huge injection, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
for lack of a better phrase here, they also miss out on the rough times. They get
Exactly.
everything. They don't get the barren 12, 18-month start of that game where there's basically nothing to do.
It's like when
Fun
No
is
Man's
what
Sky.
you make it.
It's like when No Man's Sky came out on Xbox. It's like, yes, you're getting the good stuff here. You got a lot of stuff to enjoy here. Yeah, exactly like that. So hopefully, I know that it says here that both Grounded and Sea of Thieves will be cross-play across platforms. Thankfully, because that's kind of like my minimum expectation at this point of you're going to put out an online game at this point. I should be able to play it with other people on other platforms. So we'll see how they'll do with like cross-save and cross-progression and stuff like that. That still seems to be a question mark. But hopefully that's the case because I know you can do that between... right now I'm playing a game that I can easily... pass my progression between PC and Xbox, and that just kind of works in the background, which is great. So hopefully that can work on other platforms too. Other news story we have this week is just I want to put this in here because yet again it's the best/dumbest. Power Wash.
This is the lot of blood to clean.
Yes,
joke,
Power Wash
yes.
Simulator is getting a Warhammer 40k DLC pack because of course. Why wouldn't you put that in there? It's really great. It's coming out this week on the 27th. Most of these DLC packs have been like $10 to $15. They've been really reasonably priced. So I'll probably be picking up that one because that's the right amount of dumb.
I can only imagine cleaning armor.
Yeah.
And it's one of the hulking like Inquisitor's armor where it's like 10 feet tall and yeah.
Yep.
It is the vehicles and mech suits of various factions across the games, not using power washers, but the Mark II Aqua Santica Acrobus.
It's so good.
So, sure.
Doing the orc stuff, from what little bit I know about the orcs, seems like it would just be dumb fun. Because from my understanding, they can draw an engine on a cardboard box, and that box starts working like an engine because of the power of the orc's imagination.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love Warhammer. It's so good.
Nobody understands why science in the universe can't explain how the orcs can do this.
I really love that Square Enix is using their publishing power in this just to say, all right, you got Lara Croft, you have SpongeBob, you have Final Fantasy VII, you have Back to the Future, you have Warhammer, like whatever dumb idea you want to do, we'll throw a bunch of money at licensing it, and then you can just put 4 or 5 levels in this game and we're just going to have fun. It's like, yes, that's what I want for you to do in this dumb game that has insert wild storyline here. I want you to just kind of like keep going with the craziness. That's what I need. Yeah. So
it's not a DLC I'll be able to play with my daughter, though.
Probably not. I'm not expecting it to be super bloody. I'm assuming it's going to be like, oh, look at all this rust, wink. But we'll see how
the
that
rust
goes.
Of my enemies. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. That's our episode this week. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, including a link to the Patreon page, patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
Talked about all the cool audio you get at the beginning of the show. If you $5 a month, again, is recommended here. That's just per month, not per episode or anything. So it's a very good deal. The best deal in video games. Probably not, don't sue us. If you can't support us financially, totally understand. Please share the episodes wherever you can, whatever social media platform you're on at the moment. Rate anywhere you can. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. That stuff really does help a whole ton. And just tell as many friends as you can. Be that super annoying friend that's like, yo, hey, you listen to this week's episode of TVGP? It was great. Oh, no, I'm just playing in the background. That's weird. Anyways, so go be that friend and help us out.
If they ask, subscribe.
That's right. Or subscribe
your
for
car,
them.
Lock the doors.
That's right. This episode was only, probably about 2.5 hours. You got plenty of time.
Yeah.
No big deal. All right.
Country Sunday drive.
That's right. That's right. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye. See, another testimonial right there from YouTube. I listened to your podcast while in jail. We are very popular with the legal system.
We are. I really. It's one of those things where, like, I'm still not entirely sure how we got into the prisons podcast system, but I really appreciate it because everybody that listens to it really seems to like the show. So 2 thumbs up.
It's literally probably because we don't swear. That's
Right.
probably one of the easiest things for them to double check.
Yeah.
Our favorite type of captive audience.
That's right.
As Clarissa once said.
Right. All right. Nimp, what are your titles?
I only have 2.
Okay.
The first one that really got me was Y'all Got Those Danglies?
It's actually Y'all Got Those Dongles.
I know it's dongles. You said danglies.
Mm.
And then my other one was just Spinning Saw Death Puzzle.
All right, Moon, what do you have?
Why yes or why no? Lack of feedback, managed democracy, the controller show, can I run it, whisper of war, getting your just deserves, collect your cape, remove a cardinal direction, and spinning saw death puzzle.
Collect your cape. All right, I get chicken, $700 on the line, the rust of our enemies, Y'all Got Those Dongles, the controller show, and collect your cape. And then, of course, the spinning saw death trap, whatever that one was. I didn't write that one down.
Spinning saw death puzzle. I like the controller show because we did go on a 20-minute tangent right in the middle of a section where we all started talking about controllers.
I like that one a lot.
It is very appropriate and very... Why are they talking about controllers? Like, they're supposed to talk about video games. It's like,
right.
Here is 20 minutes where we show our controllers.
Yeah.
That's right. Show and tell.
It's not even all of them.
That's right.
But also, I think I like that title as well because we didn't do the video thing where you have to see the video. We all described what we were holding up pretty well.
Yeah. I'm okay with that title if you guys are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Circling.
Ready.
Dang.
Jeez.
Locked and loaded.
I like it when I go quick because it always seems to throw Nim for a loop. Like when I'm not quick,
now he's
it's
struggling.
like ready.
Right.
And now as soon as I go first, straight away he's like,
Well, because then I process what you said, and I'm like, nah.
What does he have?
Yeah. All right. Yes, I have something.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 853 for February 26th, 2024. The Controller Show.
Asymmetrical controllers are nothing.
From the 80s to now, welcome to TVGP.
Like that you got like the hits of the 70s, 80s, and today. TVGP. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, as always, for listening and watching. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for being the best community on the internet. Hope we'll see you all next week. Bye.